Hey Greenville, welcome to a virtual Refreshments with Paul.
And Angela.
We're here today, excited about the first day of school. And what do you do on the first day of school? You fumble with this carton that no one ever taught you how to open. That's really the first thing they learn in kindergarten is how to open one of these. But we have it. See, now they've got the insert straw. These kids today, they don't know.
They don't know.
Well, we're here today with our orange juice and our animal crackers to reminisce about school and what it is. I've got two right now who started school at Lamar Elementary, a first grader and a third grader, Cameron and Ellie, wearing their mask in their class. And this is your first time in a while to not have to go into high school or elementary.
I'm an empty nester, so I have lots of experience about first days of school, so yes.
Okay. So let's talk a few things. So where did you go to school?
So with my dad being a pastor, I started out in elementary in Mesquite, and then moved to the end of the earth in Del Hart, Texas, in the Panhandle. And then came home to Garland, and finally high school, Emory Raines.
Okay. And I went to P&G, if you know where that is, Port Neches Groves. So I never had to change schools. My kids have had to do it today, but I was in Port Neches, actually Woodcrest Elementary, and then Port Neches Elementary, which is 4th and 5th grade, and then middle school, and then high school. What might you be wearing? What's your hair look like? Any special styles or trends?
Yes. So I was rocking the bangs, had full bangs, not just the part bangs, but the full heavy bangs. Usually my hair was in pigtails, and it was curled because my mom always made sure my hair was curled.
We had the side spike, and so we had the hair combed down to one side, and this side you had to spike up, and I could never get it because they had to actually cut it right. And so mine was like slicked back, but the really cool kids, it went like straight up, like almost like a mohawk to the side. Miss Nelson was my 8th grade pre-algebra. I wasn't behind, but now I think most people do algebra in 8th grade, but we did pre-algebra. And she was that way, you just knew she cared about you and stuff, but she was also just a great teacher. Mm-hmm. And I still look back on that if I didn't have pre-algebra, and then everything builds off that. And so I got a great base, but Miss Nelson was a really good teacher in 8th grade. Did you eat in the lunchroom, or did you bring a sack lunch?
No, I did not eat in the lunchroom. My mom is an amazing cook, and she would never want me to go hungry in the lunchroom. So every day I brought my lunch, and my dad helped pack my lunch sometimes too.
So is this one of those surprise, or was it? No, so it wasn't the same thing every day?
No, and I had a note. My mom would write a note to me every single day, or my dad would.
And so it was probably high school that lunch became $2.25 for me. What I got every day. I'd get different things, but pretty much added up to $2.25. So my mom would give me $3 because it wasn't where you can put money in their account and stuff. Back then you had to bring cash. And so I had 75 cents every single day that maybe she had never figured it out. She thought my lunch cost $3. Sorry, Mom. I pocketed 75 cents every single school day. That adds up. That's nearly $1.
You're smart.
Like over $100 in quarters. And every day I'd empty and so I never spent it. So I had this huge jar of quarters and hundreds of dollars that I got just from making sure my lunch went over $2, so she had to give me $3 and pocketing the rest. So
you do well on Pigeons Boot Camp.
Yeah. What'd you do extracurricular? What was your extracurricular stuff, early or late?
Let's see. In high school, I was on student council. I also was in drill team. Really enjoyed that up until my sophomore, junior year. Then I was involved in we had a Christian organization on our campus that we kind of led, and so I was a part of that.
Well, I did baseball and Indian singers. We had a show choir saying. We went around to the elementaries, and they thought we were so cool. Those are my patches. And I did student council one year, my senior year, because I found out they were going to Galveston for their convention. That's probably it for the weird stuff. But when I was in elementary school, we had the garden club. And you know why we had the garden club?
Why?
Because Delane Fossler wanted to do gardening. And so she created the garden club at Woodcrest Elementary. And me and one friend, Ross Gidry, my best friend then, that I had to convince him so that I wasn't the only one in the garden club. But it turned out we would get to leave at like 2 o'clock and go do the gardening around the school. We did the beds and stuff like that. So we were getting out of class, and then everybody's like, I want to go join the garden club. So it became pretty cool in like 3rd grade. I burned a big blister on the tip of my nose because like the day before school started, I'd gotten some microwave popcorn. And I love popcorn. And I guess Mom usually got it out for me and poured it in, but this time I pulled it out myself. And when you open it and all that beautiful scent, I think is what I thought it was. Turns out it's steam. That beautiful scent rises up. So I opened it up, took a big smell right over the bag, and just burned all over my nose. So it looked like I had this big pimple or sunburn blister or something, but it was a popcorn blister. And I had to tell people, yeah, I burned it with popcorn.
Wow.
So yeah, that was, but it didn't go away.
Pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, it was a long time.
I think another interesting story for me was in high school, I moved my sophomore year to Emory. And in Garland, your freshman year, you took physical science your freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
But in Emory, you took it your sophomore year. So when I walked in, there was only one seat, and it was in front of this guy. And I was really nervous, and I was really kind of shy. And so he asked me, he goes, "What's your name?" And I said, "Angela." Well, he didn't hear me, and he said, "So Angie." And I looked at him, I'm like, "No." And
we're not familiar enough.
No. And he's like, "Well, do you want to be called Angela or Angie?" And so I was too embarrassed, so I just said either. So I got this nickname that my nickname was Either because that's just all, he remembered. Well, come to find out later on, he told his friends that day, he goes, "You see that girl right there? I'm going to marry her." Well, come to find out, that was my high school sweetheart, and that was Stephen Hudgens, and I did marry him.
Wow, he knew. He called his shot early.
He did.
But there was a kid that we always made fun of. And he, like most kids, it had nothing to do with him, but maybe his parents were not as wealthy, maybe he didn't bathe as much, whatever. And so he became the one that everyone made fun of. But I had to spend, it was like just me and him and detention or after school doing something. And it was like, man, this kid's so cool. And I really started, and it's like, I still remember that in about 3rd or 4th grade, understanding you can't judge a book by its cover, I guess, or something. But just seeing how he was hilarious. He probably learned to be hilarious because he had to deal with this. It was so sad too, and I think back on it and it's like, man, I wish I would have really learned it. I think I learned it, but I didn't really learn it. I learned it for him, not for everyone. Praying for you guys starting school from kindergarten on up. I can't imagine the moms that didn't get to walk their kids into kindergarten. It's bad enough we had a 1st grader, but we know they're doing good. They are fine with their mask on or off, however it may be. All right, thanks. This has been hopefully it's been a virtual refreshment to you, and join us next week for a new topic.